Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D here. Join us on Twitter, join us on Facebook, and go to YouTube and look for Cascade Hoops Talk. You can get the podcast there as well. Today is Sunday, November 25th, and this is your NAIA Men's Basketball Top 25 report. Number 25, Antelope Valley. They're 1-0. They won their season opener to San Diego Christian. They had a dramatic overtime 96-91 win. Derek Green, he scored 2 of his 21. At the end of regulation, he saved the day for Antelope Valley, pushed this game to overtime. San Diego Christian, they took an early lead in overtime, but Antelope Valley came back, tied the game on a Derek Green dunk with 3 minutes to go, and that's a lead they would not relinquish. Dominique Alexander scored 26 for Antelope Valley, along with Green's 21. Greg Chu Jr. came off the bench for San Diego Christian, and he scored 26. Number 24, Union. They're still 1-2. They don't play again until December 5th when they'll travel to Montreat. Number 23, Oregon Tech. They still can't play or practice due to state restrictions. Number 22, SAGU. Southwestern Assemblies of God. They played their first game against Dallas Christian on November 17th in Waxahachie. SAGU won that game 91-57. They really controlled the game. They held Dallas Christian to less than 30% shooting, and they pulled in 65 rebounds. SAGU, they had balanced scoring, and the performance of Joel Paulius, he really stood out. 12 points, 14 rebounds. SAGU, they were getting those first game jitters out. They only shot 39%, and SAGU, they do not play again until early January. Carroll College, number 21, they're 2-1. On Friday, they hosted Dickinson State out of the North Star. They defeated Dickinson State 77-61. Jovan Shivanchanin, he led Carroll with 19 points, 9 rebounds in the win. And Shamrock Campbell, he had 16. Carroll out-rebounded by a whopping 45-25. Dickinson's Trey Hladke had 14 points. And Dickinson State on the road, they were only whistled for 5 fouls for the game on the road. I want those refs on the road. So next Saturday, Carroll takes on this same Dickinson State in Dickinson, and maybe the refs will be as kind to Carroll in North Dakota. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Number 20, Xavier of Louisiana, they're still 2-1. They don't play again until after the first of the year when they host Edward Waters. Number 19, the Masters. They're 1-0. They're scheduled to play West Coast Baptist again on Tuesday, and that'll be their second game of the season. Number 18, Dalton State. They've yet to play. They're scheduled to play Bruton Parker on December 3rd. Number 17, Olivet Nazarene. They're still 0-1. They're now scheduled to play at the end of December. Number 16, Loyola, Louisiana. They had a busy week, and they go to 4-0. On Monday, Loyola traveled to LSU Alexandria, defeating their second-ranked team of the season by a score of 101-93. Loyola's Terry Smith Jr., he was brilliant in this game. He scored 20, pulled down 16 rebounds. Andrew Fava wasn't bad either. He tossed in 21. Continuing to prove the adage, he who rebounds wins, Loyola dominated, out-rebounding LSU Alexandria 59-37. It was a tight game at halftime. LSUA actually leading by 3 at half, but Loyola, they just owned the second half. LSUA's Jordan Adebutu, he led them with 20. On Thursday, Loyola hosted Pensacola Christian. They won that game 95-75. Loyola broke away with about 4 minutes to go in the first half, and they were never challenged after that. Loyola totally dominated again in the rebounding, 55-31. Zach Reitzel, he led 5 in double digits with 19. Loyola, they bring a balanced attack every night. And the other thing you can count on is they're going to pound the glass every night. Pensacola's Noah Rawlings had 19. And then last night, sticking with Loyola, they were home and they defeated William Carey 79-61. And you know what I'm going to say? They out-rebounded William Carey 54-29. 5 players again in double digits for Loyola. 2 double-doubles. Miles Burns with 19 points, 15 rebounds, and Zach Reitzel, 16 points, 12 rebounds. Reitzel's playing very, very well for Loyola. Emil Kazanaza, he led William Carey with 13. Loyola will take on Louisiana Lafayette next Saturday. Number 15, Cumberland's, they're still 5-0. They're not scheduled again until December 3rd against Life. Number 14, Ottawa of Kansas, they're still 2-0, but they're scheduled to play. They host Bethany College next Saturday. Number 13, LSU Alexandria, they're now 2-2. They fell to number 16 Monday. We've detailed that loss for them. And then on Thursday, LSU they traveled to University of North Texas at Dallas. That's a long name of a school. They won that one 96-85. It was a tight game, only a 2-point game at halftime. LSUA, they won this game behind the arc. They hit 10 3-pointers, and then they held North Texas Dallas to just 22% from 3. And something you very rarely see these days, North Texas Dallas, they played 4 of their starters the entire game. You know, old school Ralph Miller basketball. Play 5 guys for 40 minutes. He used to say, if I recruit five of the best players, those are the 5 players that are going to play. Iron Man basketball. Jakeman Abney for LSU, he had 20. For North Texas Dallas, Vernon Johnson had 26. Next weekend, LSU, they're scheduled to play in the Battle at the Beach, taking on Florida Memorial, Kaiser, and Thomas, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Kaiser, they just knocked off Southeastern in the Sun, who were the previously undefeated, so that's going to be a good test for them. Number 12, Marion, they're 3-1 now. Marion hosted Rio Grande on Tuesday. Marion winning this game 78-56. Rio Grande, they played Marion tough in the first half, but Marion, they just have too much firepower in the second half. Marion held Rio Grande to 20% from 3, dominated the glass 43-21. Marion's Christian Stewart, he's been playing really well. He scored 15 in this one. And Luke Goman, he came off the bench and he put in 16. Andrew Scholl, he led Rio Grande with 17. And then in one of the best games of the year so far, Marion, they fell to Indiana Wesleyan 84-76. So the Knights, they jumped out fast in this one. They grabbed as much as a 10-point lead. They held that lead with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Indiana Wesleyan, they just chipped away. And at halftime, the game was tied 37. The teams kind of traded baskets the first 5 minutes of the second half. Then Indiana Wesleyan began to pull away, and they led by 10 after a Seth Maxwell dunk with just 6 minutes to go. But the home team, they weren't going to go easy. So just 2 minutes later, Cameron Walter bucket, he brought Marion to within 2 with only 4 minutes to go. But Kyle Mangus, he scores 8 in the last 2.5 minutes, and he closes out the game for the Wildcats. Kyle Mangus, he dominated, 32 points, 8 rebounds. But more important than that, he always got the Wildcats a bucket when they needed it. Now, Mangus, he picked up his 4th foul with over 11 minutes to go, and it really looked like a game changer. Marion, they took the game right to him, but they just couldn't get that last foul. Mangus, he's so disciplined, he didn't pick up that 5th foul. I'm sure everybody watching thought that was going to change the whole game, and Mangus was just disciplined enough to play his game and stay in the game. Indiana Wesleyan, they really did a good job of keeping the pressure on Marion. They got to the line 21 times and went 20 for 21 in freebies yesterday. Christian Harvey was particularly good in the second half. He ended with 19. Christian Stewart, he ended with 16 for Marion. So Marion now, they travel to Grace on Tuesday, take on Scott Moore's Lancers, and then they host Reinhardt next Saturday. And next Sunday, they'll play West Virginia Tech. Number 11, Providence. They've yet to play. They don't have anything on their schedule until after the first of the year. Same with number 10, John Brown. They haven't played. Hopefully play after the first of the year. Number 9, Arizona Christian, 3-0. They're scheduled to play Florida Memorial both Sunday and Monday this week, in Miami. And next Friday, they're scheduled to play an exhibition with New Mexico State. And I hope they beat them. Number 8, College Idaho. They're yet to play, scheduled to start after the first of the year. Number 7, Morningside. They're 5-1. On Saturday, they hosted Mount Marty. They beat Mount Marty 68-58. Morningside just dominated on the boards, 50-26, led by Trey Brown. He had 16 points, 12 rebounds. Mount Marty's Elijah Pappas had 17 points. Morningside, they're playing really well since that loss at Jamestown, and they're going to get tested again on Tuesday when they host Northwestern. Number 6, LSU Shreveport. They've stormed out to 8-0. On Monday, LSU Shreveport, they traveled to University of North Texas at Dallas, just like LSUA did. They won 100-67. LSUS, they raced out to a 21-point first-half lead, and the game was not in doubt. Jeff Boyd, a double-double for LSUS, 14 points, 11 rebounds. Kelvin Henry Jr., he paced 5 pilots in double digits with 22. Larry Rusk Jr., he had 15 for North Texas Dallas. The Pilots, they were actually out-rebounded, but their defense, they held North Texas Dallas to 33% shooting and 15% from the three. So they defended themselves to a victory. On Thursday, LSU Shreveport, they traveled to Philander Smith. They won that one 103-73. Too many weapons for Philander Smith. 5 players in double digits, led by Kadavian Evans, 29 points, 9 rebounds. Royce Hunter, he came off the bench. He scored 17. Dejalyn Austin, he scored 26 for Philander Smith. So LSU Shreveport, they do not have a game scheduled until December 18th now. Number 5, Lewis Clark State, they've yet to play. The NAIA page has some games on in November, but I looked on the school site and there's nothing there. So the school site's always right. So I'm sure they start after the first of the year like the rest of the schools in the Northwest. Number 4, William Penn, they're 5-0. On Wednesday, they traveled to Grandview. They came out victorious there, 118-93. William Penn had 6 players in double digits, led by Kavian Blaylock with 17 points, 6 rebounds. William Penn, they out-rebounded Grandview 52-38, and they held Grandview to 7 for 25 from 3. Ryan Miller, he scored 15 for Grandview. On Saturday, William Penn, they traveled to Culver Stockton, and they just pasted them, 120-61. Once again, William Penn, 6 players in double digits, led by Kamari Newman. He had 18, and they just creamed Culver Stockton on the boards. Won't even give you the numbers. Robert Fry, he scored 28 for Culver Stockton. So William Penn, they take on Graceland next Saturday at home. Number 3, Indiana Wesleyan, they're 8-0. They beat Marion on Saturday, as we told you. The Wildcats, they host Spring Arbor on Tuesday. And Indiana Wesleyan looks good. I think everybody in the country knows that. And I actually think playing without crowds helps them. Yeah, I know that sounds odd, so hear me out. Marion, they did everything they needed to do at home to beat Indiana Wesleyan Saturday. But they did not have that one big push to put Indiana Wesleyan on their heels, shake their confidence. Indiana Wesleyan, they're talented and they do everything very workmanlike. And to beat them, you got to play well, but you got to bring a lot of energy and you got to somehow shake their confidence. Those disheartening runs where the crowd just turns on you. And Marion, they had the runs, but there's no crowd and no energy. So my theory is that playing in empty gyms actually plays right in the hands of the most talented teams, because these games are basically controlled scrimmages in empty gyms. And so to get an upset, there's got to be energy and that magic. And in an empty gym, you're just not going to get it. So I think it's going to be very difficult to upset one of these power teams. And schools that depend on some of that magic in their home gym, a couple schools that come to mind, Dort playing in the DeWitt, or Dakota Wesleyan playing in the Corn Palace. Magical, mythical places to play. And when they're empty, it's just like going to the grade school gym to shoot hoops. So, we'll see. It's probably a silly theory. Curious what you think. But I think it's going to be real hard to knock off one of these power teams to upset them. Number 2, Mid-America Christian. They're 4-0. On Monday, they went on the road. They beat Randall again, 103-79. Randall, as they did in their last meeting with Mid-America Christian, they really held their own on the boards. But Mid-America, they shut Randall down from 3. Randall just going 4 for 23. Terrence Jones, he was outstanding for Mid-America Christian. 23 points, 12 rebounds. And Randall's Brent Clark, 21 points, 7 rebounds. Mid-America Christian, they're not scheduled to play again until after the first of the year. And number 1, Georgetown, they're 2-0. They're scheduled to resume action December 3rd against Freed-Hardman at home. So let's update our teams to watch. Remember, there's like 5 zillion teams in the NAIA. If I miss your team, I'm sorry. This is just my opinion. So we're adding St. Francis this week out of Indiana. Don't look now, but they're 5-0. It's a proud, historic program. They play Bethel on Tuesday, and they're scheduled to play next weekend in the show, and they take on Southeastern in Bluefield. So they'll be tested over the next week. We'll see how they end up. Alice Lloyd out of the River States Conference, we're adding them as well. They're 5-0, and they're scheduled to play on December 1st, taking on Oakland City. Huntington, they're still 5-0. They're next scheduled to play on December 2nd. They travel to Spring Arbor. Probably the best unranked team right now is Talladega. They're 7-1. They next play facing University of Mobile on December 2nd. Southeastern is 5-1. They dropped a game to Kaiser. We'll keep an eye on them, though. Concordia in the GPAC, they're 6-1. They've won 6 straight, and they're coming off big wins over Northwestern and Dort. Some teams have dropped out of the watch list. Dort, they were 5-0. They've lost 2 straight now. Life, they were also 5-0, but they've lost 2 straight. Jamestown has dropped 2 after starting fast. And Point, they've dropped 2 straight as well. Adding Valley City out of the North Star, they're 6-1. Some players to watch after 8 games, Indiana Wesleyan's Kyle Mangus. He's averaging 33 points a game. Deshaun Munson out of Harris Stowe, he's averaging 41 after 3 games. Really hard to compare these players, when somebody's played 8 games, somebody's played 2 games, but these are both amazing players, Mangus and Munson. In rebounds, Grant Olson out of Sterling after 4 games, he's just over 14 per game. Deshaun Munson again out of Harris Stowe, he's averaging 14 boards in 3 games. And Jamestown Mason Walters, just over 13.5 after 6 games. And then another player to mention, sophomore Billy Baligan out of Tennessee Wesleyan. He's shooting 80% from the field 5 games in. That's amazing. So today is Sunday, November 22nd. That's your NAIA men's basketball top 25. And I just want to let everybody know you might see a little less of me, both Twitter and also with the podcast, because the virus and really not even be able to go to basketball games in the Northwest, taking on a little bit extra work over the winter. Normally don't do that during basketball season, but, seeing the situation, it was kind of hard to turn down. Definitely try to keep the top 25 show try to do podcasts and interviews whenever possible. I want to follow every team and just keep up with the outcome. But if you see less of me, it's not that I've lost interest. It's just that life kind of takes over sometimes, and you got to prioritize. Just to let everybody know, I'm not disappearing. This is Billy D, Cascade Hoops Talk. Want to remind you, go to Twitter, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, and also want to remind you, be nice to one another. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.